Welcome back to Factorio SpaceX Extreme. Okay, so last episode we were laying down oil, but then I noticed that electricity had actually died. So what I have done is, I could have gone over to the nuclear stacks and added another one in. If you guys have been following from the beginning, you know that I had the original nuclear stacks all the way over here and all the way up here. So it's not like I haven't really paid my dues. And then we put in the advanced nuclear mod, which the whole point is to try and save UPS. So I don't really want to keep laying down stacks. So what I did instead was I changed this up to 5. It was at 4 before, now it's at 5. You can't change these while you're playing, so I had to quit and come back in, and then it took a little while to warm up, and I am just observing to see if we now finally have enough, and we seem to. I'm not sure if that means that some of our production has died off. Red circuits has dropped off slightly, probably because of plastic and oil shortages, I am guessing. We'll get to that once we have fixed the oil. So, as I was suggesting to you last time, I would finish off laying down all these pump jacks. I haven't powered them up yet, but this is what I think you should do with oil to get optimal throughput. And basically, every single one of these that I can is independently connected up to the line of tanks, so that these pipes don't cause congestion. Because what most people do is they'll connect all of these up to one set of pipes and then to their train setup, and you'll find that half of or more than half of these pump jacks are not operating anything like their full capacity, because the pipe is fully jammed up. Now this pipe could be a cause of congestion, but it is flowing into tanks at intervals all the way along. So I'm hopeful that that is enough to pick up the throughput, and if we have enough trains coming in and out of here, they'll be draining these tanks at a fairly rapid pace, so hopefully that will help as well. Now there are a few cases where obviously this one would go straight into the back of this one, so I've just connected them anyway. So there are some cases where there's 2 or possibly even 3 pump jacks all working into the same line, but that should be fine. It's just when you have like 10 all going through the same pipe or more, especially when you've got a facility as rich as this, 67,000%. That's a lot. There aren't that many pump jacks for such a huge number, so yeah, the oil is going to really flow out of here. So while all that's been going on, I don't think we've had too much progress here. I think we may have had a couple of fuel cells or so launched, and that's fine. What I'm going to do now is connect these guys up, probably using these guys as much as possible, just because I'm slightly lazy. And it's not saving on resources, but when you're doing 500,000 plates a minute, do you really need to save on resources? And that's the thing that kind of gets me with some mega bases. Oh, we can't afford to do that. It's going to take too many resources. It's like all of these underground pipes or pipe to grounds. Sure, they cost a bit of iron, but we're doing 300,000 plus iron a minute. So what? It's not that much when you compare it against our full production. These guys use a few red circuits, but this is a set up once and forget thing, so again, so what? we're producing 60,000 red circuits a minute. Why do I care if I use a few in a few substations? I really shouldn't have to, should I? Right, there you go. So how are these guys going? They're filling up reasonably quickly, I think. So the next step is, we need to power up all these pumps. Which one of these guys will do the job for? I also nuked out the area a little bit just to clear off, I think that's probably a worm, just to clear this area a bit. And of course, now that we've got radars and so on, you can see that, you know, wherever you go in this world, you just run into swarms and swarms of biters. There's just too many of them. But never mind. But I do have plenty of nukes left. I didn't use that many. I think that's 80, so 85. So I used about 15 only. It wasn't really all that many. Right, so now we need to set up the trains. I'm thinking 2 or 3 of them probably. Might just go into this area here, so that these trains can fill up and be on their way. Hopefully I'm not locked in. Oh, there we go. Ooh, did we get an astrometrics and a command? Very exciting. We need to get some tankers. I can keep coming back up here for more, I guess. Let's just quickly check the stats before we get there. So we're doing about 75,000 plastic a minute. Red has dropped. I don't know what's causing red to drop. We're using plastic at a greater rate. Let's quickly check at our oil. We do have a oil here that is all but drained. There is some oil up there, so it's not like oil has completely run out or anything. We have some crude. We have almost 5,000 crude in barrels. We have no light, and petroleum is a little bit light. Is this operating at capacity? I don't think it is. And that's because there's very little crude in the pipe. I may have miscalculated. Now that this is actually being put under pressure, I might need to come and speed module these. Yeah, I think that's something we'll have to do as an extra step. Okay, so back over here on the farm. If you're wondering why we're sort of fiddling around and I might seem slightly unsure of what's going on exactly, it's because when I benchmarked things, I assumed it would all be like, well, I kind of had some idea because, you know, I built this ability to greatly expand how fast SpaceX, or to what extent you can, you know, make it more aggressive than the vanilla. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. So I knew that the launches and the components would be a much more significant impact on the whole thing than the purely vanilla experience. That's actually putting too many in, isn't it? But we don't need it up here. We need it up the front. Or at least that's what we should need. you full? My goodness, it's full. These are still filling up. But this tanker is full. Okay, so you need to go to oil 6 to fill up. Oil 6 until inventory full, and then you go to the... I'm going to have to look at other oil trains. What exactly is the... And there are none here, which, you know, that's the issue. What exactly is the oil stacker until green signal greater than 0? Okay. Add oil stacker. Circuit condition. Green signal greater than 0. And then add oil depot until inventory empty. And we'll copy you and send you on your way. Now, we need some more locomotives and some more... Well... So if you look closely at all of these guys, I think you'll find that they're all busy. They're all pumping, are they? He's not. That's because this one is completely jammed up. That's fine. If we have enough oil trains, they won't stay jammed. Right, I need you. And you. Oh. And you. I know there's a mod that you can actually use to auto create trains, but the amount of time you actually spend in game doing it. Oh, one too many. I have my doubts that it's really going to save you enough for it to be worthwhile. It's kind of cool as a concept, though. Let's put half up there. Half down there, just in case. And half each to these two. Are you full? Not quite. At 600k it will be full. And we'll send it on its way. Let's just give it its marching orders. Good. There you go, you're full, and off you go. So we've got 4 down there. We need 2 more locomotives and 4 more oil tankers. See soon enough if I have those on board. Not in there. I can always return the unused ones, so we'll grab 5. What do I need? 1, 2. Right. I forgot to grab some more solid fuel, but we can do that in a minute. They'll be running on rocket fuel as soon as they get to the depot and start filling up on it. But obviously I don't want to have to... Well, I didn't have rocket fuel sent up to where the engineering train reloads, so I guess that's an issue. Oops, we don't want to do it on. Maybe I'll just put 10 in here, or... Oh, that's fine. Half a stack in the front one, and same business here. It looks like the power is fully fixed, so that's fine. We're still filling up and on our bikes. Excellent. So, has this made much of a difference yet? Have any of them made it through to... Where's this one going? Is it on its way back? Or is it coming down here? It's probably coming down here. No. Amazing. I can't click on them fast enough. We'd have to assume it's coming down here though. Which would mean 3 is probably about the right number. I'm going to have to move this vehicle. So that it can fill up. In fact, we may as well return to engineering at this point. Actually, we can't go there yet. I need to get the landfill train out of the way as well, although it's sitting there for, you know, a while until we actually need it again. Probably isn't really causing any great harm because we're only having these oil trains coming through here just at the moment. So the landfill train needs a way to get back on the correct side of the track. Come on. Okay. Let's give you some signals. Let's get the... I'm probably going to have to move it manually. That's probably enough. We don't want it to go there. I do want it to go to landfill. Jump back on board the engineering train. Now, we don't need East End. You need to go to engineering unload. Let's go. So, any further progress? I think life support and astrometrics... No, well, life support's finished. Astrometrics and command may have each launched, which is good to see. Fuel cells are certainly getting there. Do we have any improvement here? 75,000. This has dropped off to 46,000. We'll have to check what the cause of that is. $514,000. Any new milestone there? Not really. That's about to hit 700 million. What's the 5 second? 75,000. Yeah. Red circuits are still struggling, so I'm going to have to check what's going on with red circuits, especially our new production of it. We can probably do that while we're traveling, actually. So you are at 60. Why aren't you moving? Red circuit pickup. Okay, you have the wrong condition there. That should be until inventory full. And you also have the wrong condition. You should have until inventory full. Oh well, we've got a lot of new green circuits going into the main base, but hopefully that's the last time that happens. So that's why the red circuits have slowed right off. And here we are back at engineering unload. I'm not quite sure what, or actually I am a little bit. It's probably going to be mining, so we can turn that one off and we can turn that one on just to make sure that the engineering train will reload. And where am I going? Where am I going? Steel sitting here, not surprising. Copper, iron a bit light. What's our load like of iron? We've got tons of copper. Green circuits are doing fine. Red circuits are still no good. Let's go and check on oil. I'd like to check barrels. Light is still significantly negative, as is plastic. Which is okay. A red circuit is being dropped off now. How are we doing? We have about, is it 20? No, 15,000 bots being used here. Do we have another red circuit train sitting in here? Yeah, we've got the mixed. We've got the one that's carrying both red and green. Hopefully that won't happen too often. How many of those red circuit trains did we put on? Just the two. Well, they do seem busy. I should probably calculate how many red circuits per minute this is capable of producing. But in any event, we are back to 60,000 and we're up to 12,000 processing units on the 5-second basis. So that's a very good sign. And we're pressing over 270,000 green circuits, and we're over the 500k plates between iron and copper. Steel, wherever it is, that's fine. So all in all, we're in good shape. Our launches are coming along just fine. It looks like Astrometrics command and fuel cells will shortly be finished, and then we'll just have the heavy hit, well, thrusters, but otherwise the really heavy hitters to go. Although thrusters is at the same level as protection fields, but we started them quite a lot later, so I'd expect that they would finish first. We could quickly check the cost of these things. The thrusters are, well, you know, they're not cheap. But in comparison to that, for example, protection field, actually thrusters are probably more expensive. Protection field, the biggest problem there is the amount of processing we're having to do, because you have to process into the Mark 1 shields, into the Mark 2 shields, and then into the protection field, whereas this is more or less finished products just being turned into spaceship thrusters. So that's why it is possibly a little easier. For the fusion reactor, 400,000 blue circuits, very expensive, of course. And of course the FTL drive, almost ridiculously expensive when multiplied by 16. So 5 seconds has kind of dropped off again. I guess that means these guys, well, this one should be kicking into high gear. So we don't have enough plastic, And here also, oh, we do have plastic in the bottom one, but not the top one. We have a plastic train down here. And we're trying to load plastic trains here. Because this one's come along, this one is actually struggling a little bit. Yes, that's right. I was going to put speed modules in these things to see if that would help, because our petroleum is not making it all the way along. Made these lines too long. Okay, I mean this is sped up 3 times anyway by virtue of these, so I didn't really expect it to need speed modules, but if that's what we need, that's what we need. Okay, but that will have to wait until next time. Thanks very much for joining me, and I will see you then. Bye bye.